And of course, topic of recent Putin-Trump conversation, phone conversation. Trump-Zelensky meeting is to nowadays, by the way, makes headlines. And there is all sorts of speculations, not just about this, but also about possible meeting between Trump and Putin in Budapest. I will go through all of it in a minute, but let me demonstrate to you, dear friends, how untrustworthy these Western so-called media outlets are, because look what is going on here. Wall Street Journal, big name, by the way, in the West, is reporting that Trump allegedly told Zelensky that he was not interested in the fate of the territories, right? So this territorial issue is not concern for Trump, allegedly. This is Wall Street Journal. On the other hand, we have New York Times, also a big name in the West, which is writing, and all of them are writing usually on sources, right? Informed sources. Okay. So New York Times is writing that Trump demanded from Zelensky to make territorial concessions. And the question is, which one from these two so-called media outlets are right? Is Trump uninterested in topic of territorial issues and demands a ceasefire to be established on the current line of contact, or, as Wall Street Journal says, or New York Times is correct, and Trump was demanding from Zelensky territorial concessions? I don't know. I don't know, dear friends, which report is correct. This is the state of Western media, right? Literally on daily basis, these big names in the West are coming up with articles that are contradicting each other, and quite often same media outlet, so-called media outlet, might have articles in one day, by the way, in one paper, that contradicts each other. So it is anybody's guess, by the way, what was going on there in the White House when Zelensky was visiting. But this is not all. Of course, speculations continue about possible this meeting between Trump and Putin in Budapest. And yesterday, first, CNN reported that Lavrov and Rubio meeting was postponed. That was scheduled for this week, allegedly. And this meeting was postponed because of the principal stance of the Russian side. Then later on, deputy of the foreign minister here in Russia, Ryabkov, stated that nothing was postponed because nothing was arranged. Right? There was no arrangement that this day we will have a meeting. So therefore, how can something can be arranged that was never planned, to begin with, right? Ryabkov clearly has a point there, right? But speculations continue nevertheless. And later on yesterday, Financial Times reported that Rubio and Lavrov will meet each other on October 30. We'll have a face-to-face meeting on October 30 to discuss different topics, mainly in regards to Trump-Putin summit, right? Yet again, take any of these informations, by the way, with a pinch of salt. We just don't know what the hell is going on. But then what happened is that NBC journalist, so-called journalist, Garrett Hack, posted on his Truth Social or Twitter X, whatever this is, that planning towards that Trump-Putin summit in Budapest is on hold at the moment. A senior White House official tells me that's what this Garrett Hack is posted, right? Initial call between Secretary Rubio and Foreign Minister Lavrov was productive, but POTUS believes, US President believes both sides aren't ready enough to talk, to justify moving forward right now with this summit. So even though Financial Times reported that Lavrov and Rubio probably will meet each other on 30th of October, which might be false information, nevertheless, we had this report from CBS or NBC, journalist that Trump himself is kind of not in a hurry about this meeting. So therefore, we might not have a meeting between Rubio and Lavrov too. And this is not all, by the way. Speculations continue, and TASS news agency actually try to get some answers, right, from Washington. What the hell is going on, right? And let me give you some details on that. The US administration is not planning a meeting between President Donald Trump and the Russian leader Vladimir Putin in the near future, nor is it planning a meeting between US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. A US administration spokesperson stated this in response to TASS news agency, right? So this is a Russian state-financed media outlet, by the way, TASS news agency. Many of you are familiar with this, of course. And TASS news agency is sharing information that White House has no plans, at least for now and for near future. And near future probably means next week or next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, right? Next 4 weeks, maybe also near future, 2 months. Anyways, for near future, there is no plans in U.S. administration to have a meeting either between Trump and Putin or between Rubio and Lavrov. But for whatever reason, speculations continue, by the way, even though, I mean, this message is quite clear here. Nothing is happening, no preparations, right? But this was not enough, and Kirill Dmitriev, by the way, aide of Russian president, went to post on his social page that media is twisting comment about the immediate future to undercut their upcoming summit preparations. Continue to undercut upcoming summit, and he also says that preparations continue. Okay, by the way, maybe Kirill Dmitriev knows better what plans of Trump is or White House than White House administration, right? Because yet again, Trump's news agency received answer from U.S. administration that there is no plans, right, on a meeting of Putin and Trump or Rubio and Lavrov. But nevertheless, Dmitriev said, well, there is preparations in the place and preparations continue, and he blamed media for this chaotic situation around the topic. Okay. Then Zakharova, by the way, official representative of Russian Foreign Ministry, also went to state that rumors about the disruption of the Putin-Trump meeting is info mongering. So Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova sharply commented on rumors about the breakdown of negotiations between Putin and Trump, calling them an information circus of their war party. Axios journalist Barak Ravidra, meanwhile, wrote on their social network X that Donald Trump does not plan to meet with Vladimir Putin in the near future, citing White House spokesperson. Komsomolskaya Pravda columnist Alexander Gumov inquired about the Russian side's position and contacted Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova for a comment. Zakharova responded by calling the events veritable info bombing by the war party. Thus, the Russian diplomat refuted speculations about the allegedly cancelled meeting between Russian and US leaders in Hungary. Okay, by the way. Okay. Kremlin itself also commented on the matter. So Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said there are serious preparations are required for the planned summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump in Hungary, and that no date has yet been set for such a meeting, right? And eventually, late yesterday, Trump was finally asked to comment on this whole story directly. And let me give you his statements, by the way. I guess questions will still remain I guess questions will still remain, but Trump at least did not stated that he is going to Hungary. Let's listen what Trump had to say. This is one video.
Canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send tomahawks?
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time. So I'll see what happens. But
He said, "I don't want a wasted meeting. I don't want a wasted time," which is not really a statement that indicates preparations or readiness for such a meeting, right? Clearly, there is some issues in place. Let's listen to it again.
Vladimir Putin is canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send tomahawks?
no, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time. So I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals, agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody takes some time off because you got two countries that are killing each other. You got two countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. It's we haven't made a determination.
So he said that there was no determination made yet, that there is no final decision. And there is also follow-up commentary from Trump.
And you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of things are happening on that front, on the war front with Ukraine and Russia.
Let's listen to
I
again.
didn't say it would, and you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of things are happening on that front, on the war front with Ukraine and Russia, and we'll be notifying you over the next 2 days as to what we're doing.
Did you hear
A
something?
lot of things are happening.
Did you hear something from
I think we're going to
Trump?
get it solved. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is
Say it
Putin
again,
asking for?
what?
Do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is
I do,
Putin
yeah,
asking
yeah.
for?
Yeah, he still sees a chance for a ceasefire there. Come on, man. What ceasefire, man? It's out of question at this point, and the Russian side was very clear on that the no temporary solutions are acceptable for Moscow, only full-scale resolution of the crisis, which will require, of course, root causes to be addressed. But as you can see, dear friends, Trump himself in during the conversation with the journalists stated that no final decision is made yet. He don't want her to waste time, right? Which is which is quite an indicator, I guess, that during the talks, for example, between Lavrov and Rubio, recent phone conversation, sides did not manage to find the common ground, right? And therefore, of course, if negotiating teams of two sides are not on the same page, then there is not much point to arrange a meeting between the two presidents, right? It's that simple. So definitely, if negotiating teams are struggling to find common ground, then probably this summit, announced summit in Budapest, probably will not take place, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that, because I think, if anything, Trump has to come to Russia. Russian president already traveled to US in Alaska recently, and if anything, it's Trump that have to travel to Russia. If he has any issues with that, he can travel to Belarus, he can travel to Kazakhstan, some other friendly countries towards Russia. Why Russian president have to risk and fly to Hungary through hostile airspace? It does makes no sense whatsoever, right? So yes, that's where we are at this point, dear friends. Confusion in regards to this possible meeting between Trump and Putin, and most likely there are gonna be no meetings, by the way, next 2-3 weeks for sure. That's my understanding that in near future, in next 2-3 weeks, in next months also, there gonna be no meeting between Trump and Putin. Maybe this meeting would not take place even in next several months. We will see. But nevertheless, dear friends, speculations continue. What is the reason of delay of this summit? And for example, number of Western media outlets are reporting that main reason allegedly is that Russia continues to stand on its already declared positions, and for whatever reason, this came as a surprise for Washington, which is surprising on its own, right? How? When Russia indicated that principal stance on principal issues have been changed. Never. No Russian official, from Putin to any other, ever indicated that Russian principal stance have changed. So why Washington was kind of surprised if these reports are correct, it is anybody's guess, I don't know. But that's one of the reports on this matter, dear friends, that Russia reiterates peace terms to US in a private non-paper. According to Reuters, Russia sent a confidential diplomatic memo to the US over the weekend, restating its previous peace terms for Ukraine. Key demands: full Russian control over their entire Donbas region, rejecting Trump's proposal to freeze their front lines where they currently stand, no NATO troops stationed in Ukraine under any peace framework. The White House has not commented, and Moscow's embassy in Washington has remained silent when Reuters tried to ask for commentary. And yet again, only question I have personally, why anybody in the White House or in US administration in general expected that Russian stance have changed. Why would they change? After all, I mean, if anything, it's US administration that has to realize that they lost, right? And if they want to save face, it will be better if they will pull out US from this proxy war that West is waging against Russia, right? They should pull out US right now, while they can do it, theoretically speaking, with their whilst kind of saving face, right? But if they're gonna continue to mess around, then okay, they will go down together with the European elites. If that's what they want, then okay, man. But Russian side is very clear what goals of Russian Federation is, and these are principal positions, and Russia don't change its principal stance day in, day out, as US administration does. For example, when US president today says one thing, tomorrow something completely different, and day after something even more different. I mean, we don't operate here in Russia that way. Maybe that's why Washington was surprised, because they can flip-flop literally several times a day. They do it all constantly, right? But when it comes to Russian stance, once again, dear friends, Lavrov, foreign minister of the Russian Federation, spoke with the journalists, and he once again reiterated that no changes in Russian principal positions to be expected, right? Let me give you a report about it from RT. So Moscow remains committed to achieving a lasting peace with Ukraine and addressing the root causes of the conflict, as Russian President Vladimir Putin and US leader Donald Trump agreed during their talks in Alaska. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has stated. The top diplomat made the remarks on Tuesday, apparently responding to latest change in Trump's rhetoric. Over the weekend, the US president called for an immediate halt of hostilities along the current front lines, urging the two sides to live in the way it is right now and negotiate something later on. I mean, this is not the way this is not the way things are done, man. What kind of deal maker is Trump? Leave it as it is and go back to the matter sometime later. No, man, it's very difficult to understand what the hell is going on in Trump's brains, if there is any brain, right? So Russia has not changed its position compared to understandings reached during their lengthy negotiations in Alaska. The consensus reached back then with the President Trump is formulated when he said that long-term sustainable peace is needed, not an immediate pointless ceasefire, Lavrov said. Moscow remains fully committed to this formula, the foreign minister stressed, adding that he reaffirmed the position of the US on Monday when speaking to Secretary of the State Marco Rubio. Lavrov firmly rejected the latest calls made by Washington to stop immediately and let history judge, adding that such an approach would not bring lasting peace. Simply stopping means forgetting the root causes of the conflict, which the American administration, since Donald Trump's arrival in office, has clearly understood and articulated, Lavrov said. And, well, basically, we'll understand what Lavrov is talking about here, but, I mean, this is Trump. I mean, US president is a Trump, right? Person that literally can flip-flop on a same topic several times a day. And at this point, I don't think it really matters what Trump said during the Alaska summit. I don't think it really matters what Trump said yesterday and what he will say today. I don't think anything that Trump says actually has any meaning at this point. And maybe it will be better for Russian side, just maybe it will be better for Russian side to cut this waste of time while high-ranking officials are talking to American representatives, American high-ranking representatives, and leave door open for potential connections, communications for medium-level management staff in the foreign ministry and Kremlin administration. I don't think it is, I don't think Lavrov or President of Russia, Putin for that matter, have to waste their time talking to these freaking morons, man, either Rubio or Trump or anyone else, man. Nothing they say has any meaning, right? Literally nothing. They can flip-flop on the same topic several times a day, and why we are wasting time then? Just leave communication to some medium-range managers, medium-range officials, bureaucrats in mid or foreign ministry or the Kremlin administration, and that's it. Focused on some other more important stuff, because talks with Trump, talks with the any US officials is pure waste of time, man. Pure waste of time. 100%. It is unfortunate that this is the reality. Of course, it is unfortunate, but well, reality is not asking us, do we like it or not? I mean, reality is reality. And we have to, based on our judgments and our potential steps on reality. Not what we think, but what actual reality is. And the actual reality clearly indicates that nothing that comes out from anybody from US administration or from collective West in general can be trusted and can be taken seriously, period. And I remind you, dear friends, that this is exactly the Trump's administration who just months ago, maybe a little longer, authorized transfer of 3,000 ERAM cruise missiles to Kiev regime. It's very this administration that authorized transfer of 3,000 plus cruise missiles with a range of 350 to 450 kilometers to Kiev regime. And they might still go ahead, by the way, and authorize transfer of some God knows what other types of long-range weapon systems to be then be deployed against Russia. That's factual. That's what actually has a meaning, right? Because this is weapons that we are talking about that potentially can kill thousands of Russian civilians and harm Russian military store. RT is reporting that, well, meanwhile, no one in the EU likes prospects of the Trump-Putin summit, according to Financial Times, and EU bureaucrats can chill now. There's going to be no Putin-Trump summit in anytime soon, let's say this way, right? But anyways, let's go through this report here. The prospect of another summit between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has unsettled EU officials, the Financial Times reports on Tuesday, citing diplomatic sources. US and the Russian leaders agreed to meet in Budapest during a phone call last week, apparently catching EU bureaucrats off guard. The announcement reportedly caused a universally negative effect across the EU. No one likes it. We are grinding through our teeth while saying this is fine. One unnamed EU diplomat told the Financial Times, and well, yet again, EU bureaucrats can chill now. All these Russophobes and Russia haters and enemies of Russia in the West can chill. There's gonna be no meeting between Trump and Putin anytime soon, and for good, I guess, right? For good, because I guess all of you, dear friends, and me, myself included, I mean, all of our community and community in this world is sick and tired of these games that West is coming up day in, day out, Western elites, right? From US to London to Brussels to Berlin and Paris, I mean, whole world is sick and tired of the Western elites, man. Let's put it this way, right? Of course, we will monitor situation, but this crisis is going to be resolved on the battlefield. It is just that obvious, right? And most likely, active phase of military operations will end when Russian troops will reach borders of the Western Ukraine. That's what is going to happen. Most likely, active phase of military operation will end when Russian troops will reach borders of the Western Ukraine. Until then, this high-intensity conflict, this proxy war that West is waging against Russia, probably will continue and might last for another several years even, right? It all depends on stockpile of weapons in NATO countries, and it all depends on how many people Kiev regime still can sacrifice. And they can sacrifice quite a lot, because Kiev regime can activate forceful mobilization of elderly people like pensioners and people that are close to retiring age, and soon Kiev regime might begin forceful mobilization of younger generations from 18 to 25 that have not been forced to participate in this proxy war yet. And in that case, I mean, we are talking about some 1.5, 2 million people at least. 1.5, 2 million people at least that Kiev regime and its Western masters still can sacrifice against Russia from their population that is still remains on the Kiev-controlled territory. So yes, let's see how the situation go, but most likely this conflict will end when Russian troops will reach borders of the Western Ukraine, and until then, well, we will just have to do what we have to do. Continue demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, and continue fight our enemies and defend ourselves. That's it.
Hello everyone, I hope you find informative and useful this short clip from main news update, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. It might help to deal with their algorithm and reach wider audience. And if you like my work in general and want to support to save this media project, you can assist through several ways. You can donate to this project through PayPal platform or Boosty, also with the crypto currencies, or you can subscribe to my Patreon page and page on Boosty, where I have quite a lot of extra content on regular basis. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And of course, many thanks to everyone who already helped and continues to support. Thank you.